Right. What's up, YouTube?
Are we on?
We're on YouTube.
Yeah, buddy, and we are on Facebook.
And we're on Facebook.
Just got the notice.
Just got the thing, got the bing.
That's always good.
How am I doing over here on this one?
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are
What's up, guys?
Are you a little bit brighter? I think you are.
I don't know. You want to see? Yeah. I mean, it looks brighter on that camera.
Yeah,
So.
looks a little nuts.
Good. Well, we will. Let's see here.
Flipping Fridays, episode 48.
Yeah, let's hope that everything goes good this time. Oh yeah, you can see my face brighter.
Yeah. Like that, man. Looks like a little Home Depot DIY.
Hey, Home Depot works, man.
I was gonna borrow my brother-in-law's fancy lighting equipment, but
Nice.
not even necessary.
Well, there we go. There we go. All right, guys. So shit. Go ahead. Go
I was
ahead.
just gonna say, man, how was Milwaukee? BP just took off to Milwaukee. Total, by the seat of his pants. He had a friend in town. They hung out a little bit. He was telling him about the fix and flip numbers in the Milwaukee area. We've been talking to people in different parts of town. We were talking to John out there in North Carolina. Like, all these people have way, way, way better spreads than we have. I mean, the Phoenix market is crazy competitive right now. So
Yes.
So what'd you find?
Fucking Milwaukee is cold as shit. Holy
wrong
fuck.
time of year, man.
Dude, I was there like in 3-degree weather. So the guy that took me out to Milwaukee, he's actually a friend of mine. I go mountain biking with him from time to time, and he's been doing flips here in Phoenix. Actually lives out here in Phoenix, but a few years ago he decided to take his business out to Milwaukee. So I decided to go with him and to kind of see what he was doing and see how he was kind of running that. And yeah, it was cool. It was very, very cool. We can talk about that a little bit more here. But nonetheless, though,
What was the temperature?
temperature?
Yeah.
The mornings it was 3. I posted a picture when I was in Chicago, and Milwaukee was actually a little bit colder than Chicago. And in the morning it was 4. We were in my friend's car, and the temperature outside was 4. Yeah, it was 3, and then the highs was like, I think it made it up to 14 or something, maybe 19, somewhere around that area.
That's
So,
insane.
Yeah.
Just like we only stay inside in the summertime. They only stay inside in the wintertime.
Yeah, and it sucks, man. It sucks. So, however, though, Milwaukee was a pretty cool town. I really, really enjoyed myself in Milwaukee. I tend to bring the good weather wherever I go. That's just kind of happens everywhere that I go. Like, literally, when I went to Seattle, it was sunny for those 3 days that I was there. As soon as I hopped on the plane, it was like the thunderstorm was coming in. So I was like, whoosh.
That's where you go, man.
So wherever I go, there's that girl, Melissa, and her monkey ass will probably be joining here a little bit later, but she's the one always talking shit. Turns out she lives in Wisconsin, so she had connected with me. We had talked. We weren't able to like meet up face to face, but we talked on the phone or whatever, and she was talking shit, and I was just like, hey, you know what? Calm down, because I brought the good weather. And she's like, no, you're not. The news says it's gonna be raining, it's gonna be snowing. And then sure as shit, the next 2 days, sunny.
Yeah. Hey, we got really lucky in Costa Rica too. We always checking out the forecast. It was supposed to rain the whole time. Not one drop.
Nice.
Unheard of.
So we got Keon Gray in the house. We got Pam Bauer in the house. Thank you for joining us, guys.
We literally have Robert Flowers in the house.
Yeah, Robert
What's
Flowers.
up, Robert?
Come and say hi in a minute.
Yeah, you want to come say hi? Hop in.
But yeah, hey, Pam, I haven't talked to you in a while. Let me know. We're supposed to get up and get some food. So hit me up sometime and we'll get together. It's been a while. Keon, man, hope everything is going good. We got Tyrone Liggins. I hope I said that correct. Anyway, Tyrone says, what's up, guys? Tyrone is one of our newer audience members here. And thank you for joining us, every single one of you guys. Please, just like always, we're not selling anything. We're not pitching anything. So if you guys find this information valuable, please feel free to share it with us. We're definitely putting it out there. That's how a lot of times we get a lot of new people, is that somebody shares this and then somebody in their friends sees it, or somebody in one of their groups sees it. And as I said, guys, we're not selling anything. We're not pitching anything. We're just putting out information. We're sharing our stories from people, investors that do this on a daily basis. And you know, I put on my okay, absolutely. That sounds great, Pam. I definitely would love to do something. It's been quite a while. I saw something online, and somebody posted that they were doing a property tour, and then they had a picture of one of the previous property tours, and the person leading the group was somebody who has never done real estate in their life, somebody that we both know personally. And you know, I saw the picture and I posted it on my Instagram stories. I was gonna post it but I just didn't want any issues with anybody in any groups. But I was just like, you know, guys, be careful who you listen to. Everybody was in this picture. Everybody was in attention to this one particular person, and that person has never done a real estate deal in their life. And this guy was pitching something. Now, whatever it is, what it is, but we're not pitching anything, guys. We're just giving you real life scenarios from real life investors to do this on a daily basis. You know, Kris, I don't even know how many houses you flipped. I don't even know how many houses I flipped total. The amount of money that we've done in flips, the amount of money that we've done in sales, all kinds of figures that we can kind of put together and to make it sound nice. But at the end of the day, we're just investors, regular people doing it. We're doing, I like what Elijah said last week. He said, I'm a regular guy doing extraordinary things.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
yeah, we're not doing anything that anybody else can't do, that's for sure. But yeah, with a lot of these people, it seems like just because you have good marketing, they get these huge crowds and, you know, yeah, whatever, buyer beware.
Yeah, and that's just that was my only thing, is just beware with whatever it is that you do, wherever it is that you're going. But more specifically when it comes to the flip guys here, just, you know, understand that we're not selling anything, we're not pitching anything. So if you do find this valuable, please make sure to help us share it, because that's how we get new people coming in and being able to learn from it. So I was over in Milwaukee, and so what happened, guys, and guys, this is I've been going through such an awesome change in my life right now, man, and I've been going through such an amazing journey, and it seems like every single day things are getting clearer. I'm going to be writing a fucking book here. Yes, I'm going to be speaking on stage at Secret Knock. I just locked that in with freaking Greg yesterday. That's awesome. So I'm done. I'm working on my little spiel that I'm going to do at Secret Knock. Greg is co-authoring the book with me, but it's going to be my book specifically, so he's just going to basically have his name on it as kind of like a stamp of approval, which is that's instant credibility. Anyway, guys, things are just going in an amazing pace. So I've learned through my journey to trust the universe. And my buddy Manny, who was the guy that took his Manny Ramirez, he came out, him and his wife and his child came out to my last event that we do. And for you guys that don't know, I run a nonprofit called Together We Grow Phoenix, and we do an event once a month where we help out the homeless or lower income families. So anyway, he came out there with his family to help out. We were talking, and you know, one of the things that I pride myself in is that I don't have a lot of pride. And I have a lot of pride in what I do, but I don't let my ego get in the way. And I don't mind asking for help. I don't mind asking people for help. I don't mind telling people, hey man, you know, these things aren't really working out the way that I wanted to, or hey, there's got to be a better way. I don't say to myself, well, I'm a flipper and I got to stay a flipper and everything's going to be this way because I say it's going to be this way.
I prefer to ask people for help. Seriously.
Of course.
Everybody's done what you want to do before, so anytime I'm looking for something new, man, what's that?
We should be able to see with the, hold on, I want to make sure that they read it, and then we'll turn it around here. So I want everybody to see this. I found this somewhere, and it resonated with me amazingly.
Learn from the mistakes.
So basically, yes, learn from the mistakes of others, because you don't have the time to make them all yourself.
Absolutely. And why would you want to? Yes,
and why would you want to, other than pride and ego? So I've learned to kind of let myself get out of my own way. And it was just an amazing thing. I'm talking to Manny. I'm like, dude, I'm interested in learning what it is that you do. I'm interested in trying to see about doing stuff in other markets. I mean, I kind of already came to the conclusion anyway. Me and you have had that conversation many, many times. I mean, when I get an idea in my head, guys, I'm going to make that shit fucking happen. And it is what it is. It's a gift. Sometimes it's a curse. But for the most part, it's a gift. And I'll make that shit happen. So we had this scenario. I'm talking to him, and I'm like, you know what? Next time you go to Milwaukee, I would love to join you and kind of learn what it is that you do.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, man, sure, I'll let you know. And
which is the same shit people say to us all the time. Right?
Yes.
Oh, I'd love it. Anytime you get a minute, I'd love to get 5 minutes of your time.
Man.
Which we say the same way he said, sure.
Yeah, sure. So
right.
I'm like, Christina, can you talk with him, find out when he's going next? Well, it turns out he was going in fucking 2 weeks, which happened to be February in Milwaukee, and it was snowing and shit. So my flight, for whatever reason, I have a layover in Chicago, which I found out was super close to Milwaukee, and I didn't know because I didn't even look at a freaking map as well Milwaukee was.
Oh yeah.
So I get a layover there, and I actually end up missing the flight because I was partying with a friend the night before. It happens. So anyway, I had to miss the flight, and I ended up messaging Manny and said, "Hey, I'm gonna be a day late. I'll let you know when I'm on my way. Here's what happened." And he's like, "Oh shit, I didn't think you were serious when you told me you were coming." And I said, "Dude, I told you I'd be there." And that is a lesson that you guys should take. Guys, the people willing to help are out there. But most of you motherfuckers are full of shit. Mm-hmm. Most of you motherfuckers not only bullshit people like us, but mainly bullshit yourself about how much you really want it, how bad you really want it. You see a fucking check and you get your little fucking heart on, male or female, right? You get your little nipples harder.
You get that little bang.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, now you're like, this is what I want to do. And man, fuck, relax. Because the reality is that most of you guys are full of shit. And most of you guys are not going to follow through with that. Most of you guys are not going to follow through with the meeting. So Manny said, "Hey, dude, I didn't think you were serious." And I said, "I told you I was going to be here. You told me the dates. I set you up with my assistant. We got all the place together, so we're good to go." So I showed up, and I learned a whole lot from there. I learned a whole lot from Manny, from that sad scenario. And a few lessons that I want to put out there to you guys. First of all, there's not a shortage of people out there that you can learn from. There's not a shortage of good people that are doing this on a daily basis. Not people that are out there being flashy and whatever else. Regular people that are just doing this, that have learned the ups and the downs. I had learned a great lesson from him regarding out-of-state investing, which took him about 3 years to learn, and a whole bunch of money, and some hole that he's digging himself out of at this point because of a mistake that he made. And I'll talk about that here in a minute. But the power of being able to not only ask for help, but follow through. And then in addition to that, implement what they tell you, because most people don't. He took me out of all fucking places, dude. Milwaukee, he took me to a bomb-ass Mexican restaurant. I'm like,
we're everywhere, man. We're everywhere.
Well, yeah, and there was a bunch of Mexican restaurants, but this one was bomb, like super bomb. So we got Saxana here who says true. Thank you.
Michelle's back.
We got Luis Fernando. He says he finally caught one. So hey, man, yes, thank you for joining us, Luis.
Mr. V.
Yes, we got Michelle in the house. We got Casey in the house. Hey, Luis, so dude, I'm seriously thinking I need to travel somewhere fast. So I'm going to take a look at Ecuador and see where you're at before you get to Colombia. Or I might just purposely miss that flight and then go to Colombia because I heard Colombia was fucking amazing.
Colombia's awesome. And hey, and Luis is a great example of thinking differently. A lot of people think, only in my market. His market, it's not real estate, but is worldwide. I love when you tell me this guy makes American dollars and he spends Nicaraguan dollars. You know what I mean? Like whatever peso.
Ecuadorian money. Hey, Luis, what's the Ecuadorian currency? ¿Cómo se llama?
Yeah, what's that exchange rate? What do you get for? You know what I mean? Like the bang for the buck is amazing.
And so anyway, Casey here says you'll never come back.
Yeah, no doubt.
Seriously, and guys, you have to make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like, and that you're reaching out to people that you want to be like. So we had somebody came in. Luis says message me, and I think Colombia is a priority. So hey. It's coming from the horse's mouth who lived down there. So I guess I may have to go to Colombia first. I ran into somebody that I know. I don't think you know. You may know of, but this guy he lives here. And I ran into him at a bar, and I'm like, hey, how you been? He's like, oh, traveling. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I go to Colombia a lot. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, dude, I got this fucking little chick over there. Dude, he showed me this chick that was fucking amazing, man, amazing. And the dude's a little bit older, you know, like he's in pretty decent shape, but dude, this chick was fucking bad, like amazing bad. He's got all kinds of like freaking booty pictures of her, and she's like, oh, you're up on him and everything. He's like, yeah, that's why I go to Colombia all the time. He had his little chica out there, but I heard they are freaking beautiful. Let me see the currency in Ecuador. Oh, they're American dollars. Cool. Well, and even when you do American dollars, even when you go like in Panama, it was American dollars. They had something called I want to say it was a Bolivia. Balboa. Balboa. That was their original currency in Panama, but now everything's in American dollars. Nonetheless, though, it's cheaper,
though, right?
Yeah, it's always cheaper. So we got, let me see.
Huffman's in the house.
Yeah, we got Nicholas Huffman. Hey, brother. Thank you for that fucking awesome journey that we took.
He's still hungover.
Oh, fucking
shit,
dude. On Saturday, he came out. So the reason why I missed my flight to Milwaukee in the first place was because I was hanging out with Mr. Nicholas Huffman over here, who is an amazing individual and just awesome. We went out to the Adult Puppet Show, yeah. So that was a lot of fun. Then we hit up a few bars. We ended up at Seamus McCaffrey's, and they had like an Irish bar, and some guy was doing a jig and shit, dude. He was trying to hit on some ladies. Like it was a whole lot of fun.
That was Robert. That was Robert doing that
jig. So we ended up hanging out, dude. I didn't sleep at all. I ended up missing my flight.
I like when you guys were like talking about the night. You're like, oh, let's take, we'll go out. Let's keep it kind of chill though.
Shit. You knew better. You already knew better.
That's why I didn't go.
Yeah. We got Adelia Gutierrez Susana who says hello. Hey, hello. Thank you for joining us. We got Eldon in the house. So anyway, guys, I went out to Milwaukee with the specific purpose to learn. As I said, this guy here said, yeah, I'm going in 2 weeks. I didn't even care what the ticket prices were. I said, hey, Christina, here's the dates. Book the freaking tickets. The guy was like, I got an Airbnb, so you could just stay with me at the Airbnb. And I said, perfect. So that was it. That was all it took. I ended up being about $400 round trip in American Airlines. It was easy. Went in there, took a look what I wanted to, and I learned a whole lot. And that was one of the things the first lessons that I wanted you guys to learn is the fact that putting yourself out there, asking for help, and then following through when those people do give you help. Mm-hmm. Because as somebody like you who gets asked for help all the time, like, hey, can you help me? Can you teach me? Can you show me? The thing worse than anything is when like you say, yeah, sure, and then these motherfuckers don't even show up. Show up fucking late. 20, 30 minutes late.
Hey guys, next week, Mrs. Risha is in the
Oh,
house.
yeah, she's in the house.
It's going to be our guest for next week.
Yes.
Risha, what are we going to talk about, Risha? Why don't you tell us?
Well, so actually, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be talking about, Risha. First of all, me and Risha, I am dining with the Davies tonight.
Nice.
So, yeah, I got a date with her and her husband. I'm going to go eat, and her kids. I'm going to eat dinner at their house. So we're going to have some crazy keto style with Risha, who is my hiking buddy, my super good friend. I miss you. We need to go hiking again. I miss our hikes. It was so great to go hiking 2 weeks ago or whenever it was that we did, and it was amazing to catch up. But anyway, her and her husband have been investing out of state. So they have some rentals here locally, but they've been moving out to the Midwest, if I'm not mistaken. They travel a lot over to St. Louis. So we'll have them kind of give their story as to what they're doing. And it's going to kind of coincide with what we're talking about today, which is out-of-state investing. And, it happens to be that I was over in the Midwest. And as I was going, oh, no kids. So, Risha, good, awesome. So I thought I might have to hold back my language, but fuck it, now we're good. I am who I am, but sometimes I try to be respectful for kids. Or like yesterday, I was hanging out with my friend Mike, who we met over when we went to Haiti, me, Casey, and Mike. Yeah. And Mike is Mormon. So he's fucking funny. So he's like, hey, you mother freakers, how's it going? Oh, you guys are so freaking funny. We got Giovanni in the house. We got Cameron in the house. Hey, Giovanni, we still need to go hit up that restaurant, bro. You need to let me know where the new address is. He's the guy that took me to that lady's house that's a restaurant 2 days a week, only for a few hours.
Spot,
dude. Yes.
Cameron says no filter. I know this guy says he can do it. I've yet to see it.
So. I mean, shit. You guys seen me when I was on the news?
Yeah,
right.
That's a limited quantity.
Yeah. That was still that was still good. I mean, I still did good, and I gotta get my shit straight when I go to Secret Knock. So I'm sure Greg will let me get away with maybe one.
Yeah,
like shit or something.
They're cool about it.
But yeah, I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful. So anyway, guys, that's one of the things. Make sure that if you're reaching out there, first of all, make sure that you reach out to people that you want to be like. I saw this guy. I saw that he was investing. We had already talked about it when we were mountain biking, so I already knew that he was doing it. But I kind of just wanted to see how it went for him, and eventually he was able to get a hold of it. And that was one of the things that I kind of was like, yeah, man, this is I want to talk to him about what he's doing. As I started making the decision that I need to go out of state just to be able to either make the returns that we're looking to make or do my, whatever I need for my investors, then that's when I decided to reach out to him. He said, yeah, within 2 weeks I was flying to Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. And be a person of action. One of my mentors tells me that all the time.
Absolutely. And like we've told the story before, but that's how we became friends. We already knew each other, but I had as many tickets as I wanted to go to Florida to learn Robin Thompson. One person hits me up. One person. What did it cost you? It cost you an airline ticket and half a hotel.
Yeah.
It's like people just don't take action. Man.
I think I paid for the car rental. Remember that? So we got that cool ass fucking that orange Camaro. Is that what that was? Right. So we got Hector de Santiago in the house. Big shout out to Hector de Santiago because he is an example of what I'm telling you guys to do. This guy reached out to us on the show a few weeks ago. And he said, hey, man, when I'm in Arizona, I want to come see you, come spend some time. So I said, yeah, man, let me know whenever. He ends up sending me a message a few days ago. He's like, I'm going to be in Arizona from this date to this date. What works for you? I told him what works for me. He ended up contacting me and said, hey, I'm going to be at your house at this time. Is it all right if I bring somebody else with me? I said, yeah, that's fine. And he showed up. And we ended up, I ended up having about a hour and a half, 2 hour session with him, just kind of giving him some tips on certain things. But he was a man of action. He took action. He saw what somebody that may have had some answers to some of the questions that he may have, and he reached out and he ended up getting what he needed. Right. And so anyway, big shout out to him. Big shout out for being somebody here that supports our show. He's been with us here for a few weeks, but he's definitely been helping us out.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Yes. So let me get up in here. All right. So let me see. We got Cameron Joan who says, I need deals, guys. You guys are awesome. Let me know if you got anything in the pipeline you're wholesaling. Cameron, I'll definitely let you know that for sure. But I will tell you something that you already fucking know. Everybody needs deals here in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. So, that's one of the reasons why I decided to look at stuff out of state. Right. Because I'm looking at things. So, how do I say this? It's the amount of effort versus the amount of the return in anything that you do. And that's how you should judge pretty much anything that you decide to put your time or energy into. How much effort is it going to take versus how much potential return am I going to get? Initially, that's what turned me on to wholesaling. Because I don't need to put in a whole lot of effort to be able to lock down a deal. And I'm potentially going to make thousands of dollars once I wholesale it to somebody. Mm-hmm. And that could be $2,000 to fucking $10,000 to $20,000 or whatever it is. However, that was the cost of what we were doing, how much time and energy. As we progressed and switched over to different things, then sometimes you start noticing that the cost of energy starts going up or is the same. However, the energy that you're getting in return is not as much. And that's one of the things that you have to put out there. So here in the Phoenix market, I mean, everybody's currently looking for deals. It's a hot market right now. There's not a shortage of dumb buyers out there that are willing to overpay. And if you guys are wholesalers, by all means, take advantage of that, because there's a lot of people out there willing to pay a lot more than they should for things that they shouldn't.
Yeah,
pay.
That's the reason we aren't getting deals sent to us. That's the reason Cameron's not getting deals sent to him, because they have, well, stupider buyers.
Yeah.
People who will just pay dumb amounts.
And it is, no offense to those people, but it is what it is. And that's what happens when people go to these events. They pay money for these programs, and now they're desperate for a deal. They're desperate to make that money back. They need something. They need to feel like they're in the game. Even if it's the wrong fucking thing, even if it's the wrong play, they just want to be in the game. They're like so pumped. And you see these people, and they're posting about all their flips, and let me show you my very first flip. And I was one of those guys. I mean, I didn't pay for a fucking seminar, but I wanted to be in a fucking game. I wanted to get myself in there. And I was like, hey, check me out. And I'm here at my house, and I'm painting, and I'm doing landscaping, and I'm doing here, and I'm doing there, and blah, blah, blah. But eventually, as I said, those people don't make money. Mm-hmm. They're 1, 2, and they're gone. And I know because I talk to these wholesalers, and I'm like, dude, who the fuck is buying this shit, bro? Right. Like, oh well, it's just new people. They come in, they buy 1 or 2 properties, and then we never see them again. And then somebody else comes and buys 1 or 2 properties, and then we never see them again.
That goes into Kevin Brown's question really easily. Kevin asked, how do you structure a rehab crew out of state, or do you stick with wholesaling? I think because you're talking about being out there painting your own thing. Yeah. That's the beauty. You can't do that when you're out of state. You got to hire a contractor.
So that was one of the lessons that I went to go learn. And the thing about it is that this is not my first time going to a Midwest town and seeing how somebody runs their business out there. I did this last year or the year before. I don't even. My time's all fucked up. But anyway, I did this before, and it was on the winter time, and it was actually in February too in Ohio, which was cold as fuck. But that was one of my biggest things, because when I was asking around, and when I'm doing my initial research about going and flipping out of state, the 2 things that come up the most is property management and construction crews, because those are the 2 hardest things to handle outside. Now, your question here, Kevin Brown, is how do you structure a rehab crew out of state? It's a long, drawn-out process. As I was over there in Ohio the first time, it's a different mentality. We're from the city. We're used to, here in Arizona, we got Mexican workers out the ass. So they're constantly competing with each other. They want to outwork each other. When you start going into some of these smaller towns and some of these smaller markets, the people may not be that way. And even when you get to the cities, they may still not be that way, because it's still a different culture. So it takes a while to go there and start getting your trades in order. Basically all your electricians, all your plumbers and everything. And it's going to be a constant turnaround, and you're going to have to get a lot more than what you're used to dealing in the city. Meaning that they're going to be able to handle a lot less work, and they're going to work a whole lot slower. And my friend that I went to Ohio with, he explained it to me like this. If you buy something like, let's say me, I suck at building shit. So I go to IKEA and I try to put something together, and it takes me 2 hours to put a cabinet together. Then Kris says, hey man, I'm going to hire you to put my cabinet together. I'm going to charge you based on my experience of putting those cabinets together. So it's hard for me. I'm going to charge you $5,000. Now you come here to Arizona, where people can knock that shit out in 15 minutes. The dude's going to be like, oh, I'll charge you whatever half that costs. It takes him 15 minutes, boom, boom. But so you're dealing with additional costs, you're dealing with additional time, and for those reasons, you're going to need to get multiple trades if you're planning on doing multiple properties. But honestly, it goes down to trial and error. There's no other way. I've been looking for other ways, because I've told you guys I'm lazy, and I don't really feel like flying to the Midwest all the fucking time. Yeah. But initially, you're going to have to. Or wherever I choose to do, whatever market I choose to go into. And so you have to go in there, because you have to be on top of your trades. As you progress and as you find out who's good and who's not, birds of a feather flock together. So then you start asking more of the people. You start going back to the place where you found the good ones. You start asking the good ones, hey, would you be willing to manage these particular people? Eventually, the guy that I deal with, he started a property management company in Ohio, and basically their property manager manages all the construction that's going on while he's not in town. And he's got to fly back every few months to check on the progress of the different work. But he's got a guy that kind of is like his project manager that goes around and kind of this to him, and that's somebody that he found through that journey as a trusted person.
Yeah, you gotta have those eyes and ears for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Same thing over in Milwaukee. The guy that was set up his crew, he found a few different trades. He was going back and forth. He found some people that were very reliable on some of the trades that they were doing. Eventually, he was able to hire one of them as a project manager. He was able to trust the guy. He knew that this guy was going to be reliable, and then he incentivized the guy in saying, "Hey, if you get this done," I think he had an incentive where. Hold on, give me 1 second, because actually this is going to answer your next question, Kevin, which is even with scope of work, subcontractors, including deadlines. So what he did in Milwaukee was that he ended up getting somebody who was their project manager, and then he set them up with a budget and a deadline. So they would say, okay, here's the budget that it should be, here's the deadline that it happens. If you come under budget, or so first of all, if you finish this project before the time frame that we have, you get $100 for each day that you finish before. If you finish after, you lose $100 from what we were going to pay you. And then I believe in this particular case, they were paying him a flat fee of $3,000 per property. Now, if this guy's able to come in under budget, then whatever the difference is, let's say it's $5,000 that he saves him, he gets half of that. So that incentivizes the project manager to then beat up, quote unquote, beat up in price or keep in check all the subcontractors, because eventually they're going to try to get slick with it. They're going to slowly up their price, and we'll charge you $200 last time is $250 this time, $300 this time, and everything and so on and so forth. Especially if you let them control the products, and they're buying the material and everything. They're going to bump up the price on that. So anyway, that's what he did to incentivize his crew, specifically with the deadlines. He was able to find a project manager, then he was going to pay him a flat fee for every property, and then he gave him incentives to make sure that all the deadlines and everything were hit. Now, he still has to fly back every once in a while when they get a new property, kind of walk the property, see what it is that he's doing. But he was telling me that now he doesn't go out there as much, and now he doesn't talk to his trades as much, because the project manager is doing it. Nice. But in order for him to do that, it took him about 2 years of flying there every few months to make sure that people were doing it. Having to fire a few people, having to find out who the real people were, everything else. So we got Alex Sanchez in the house. We got John Sabella. We got David Sandoval over here. Michelle is saying LOL. Must have been something I said. I'm not sure. And then we got Kevin Brown here, who's saying trustworthy project manager for sure. I like that $100 a day incentive. Keep the carrot out there. Yes. And that is something that you have to do when dealing with out-of-state properties, because they're out of state. There is a saying that we've all heard, when the cat's away, the mice will play, right? Yeah. And that is something that pertains to all aspects of life. People in general like to complain and say, I don't want nobody telling me what to do. I want to be my own person. I want blah, blah, blah. But in reality, they need somebody telling them what to do. They really do. Because if they don't, they're kind of running around with chickens with their heads cut off. And eventually, if you leave it up to somebody else's discretion, they're going to do it what comes the easiest for them. Not what's the best for you, not what's the best for the company, not even what makes the most logical sense. They're going to do whatever is easiest or comes natural or whatever to them. So you have to understand that is just kind of what it is, and you're giving people incentive to keep them in line for how it is that you want. So now, as the project manager, as I said, he's got an incentive to make sure that all the subs are doing what they're supposed to. He's got an incentive to be able to run multiple projects at one time. He's got an incentive to make sure that they're not screwing them price-wise, because he's going to get a portion of that. He's got an incentive to make sure that they're not going past that date, because it's going to affect his money.
See, that's why I like that strategy, because some people deal better they handle, or what motivates them is pain, and other people what motivates them is pleasure. Yeah. So you're given the best of both worlds, Either they're looking to make an extra buck, or they're really not wanting to lose that extra money.
Well, and the reality is that most people are by pain. Pain is a lot more powerful than pleasure.
That's how it is for me. You know, I'd rather get it done so I don't have to experience something rather than, you know, obtaining something new.
That's how it is for most people. That is exactly how it is for most people, because most people are, everything that somebody does in general is because they're trying to avoid pain. It is the craziest human nature. And I've said this many, many times, because anger and pain is such a much more powerful emotion, and we're taught to like hide it and not even pretend, and we're gonna be positive all fucking day, and that's a bunch of fucking horseshit. Because if you're not, man, you're dismissing the one thing that gives you the most amount of power. Now, so you have to be careful with it, because then it can draw you into this other side. But I've said this before. I do open mic poetry, and I tend to date black women, and at these open mic poetry shows, there's a bunch of fucking black women. Now, I could write a poem that says, I love black women, they're the best, they're amazing, they're the shit, blah, 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 and I would get this amount of praise. However, if I wrote a poem that says, I fucking hate black women, and I'm not going to date you guys ever again, and y'all fucking suck, the amount of hate would be this big. But you would think it should be the same. Like, the amount of love when I praise them should be as high, but it's not. It's the amount of hate that always supersedes that. So you have to make sure that you guys are very, very, very careful with that. But more than anything, don't, like, you can't ignore that it is there. You know, it's something that we have to give into from time to time. It's something that we have to acknowledge from time to time. It's something that is okay to be acknowledged, because we're all kind of in that realm. But because it's human nature, people are more motivated by pain than they are by pleasure. But more motivated by the thing of avoiding pain than by what the rewards that they can get in pleasure.
Exactly.
Which is nuts, but it is what it is. So we got Ivan joining us. Hey Ivan, thank you for joining us here. Make sure you help us share this. We got David Sandoval, who's saying, during the project, should the project manager take out insurance in case something happens, or should the investor do it? Dude, you're the investor. Like, don't trust your fucking project manager.
Yeah, the owner always has to have insurance, and then whoever you have, the project manager needs to make sure anybody working on your property also has insurance.
Yes.
You know, so absolutely. But yeah, never, ever, ever have a property without insurance. I mean, because first of all, especially he has a property in Detroit. The cost to replace or rebuild a house in Detroit is way more than the cost of the actual house. So, I mean, it could be a little bit of a gold mine if a house happens to burn down in one of those. You know, like back in Phoenix, if you would have bought a house for $20,000, well, it's $150 to replace it.
Yeah, the cost of building is you know.
Yeah, so you can make a $20,000 investment. If everything goes really bad and it burns down, you're actually going to make money. So that's definitely why you have insurance. So.
And you always want to make sure that you have insurance on any real estate deal that you do. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when somebody can get hurt. You don't know when somebody's going to want to try to fucking sue you. You don't know when there's an actual accident. You don't know if a crackhead decides to break into your fucking house and keep warm and burn the fucking house. There's all kinds of things. So you always want to have insurance on anything. And last time, I think it was about 2 months ago, remember we were yelling at some lady on here for not having insurance? Because she was like, even if I pay cash, and I'm like, especially if you pay cash.
Especially.
Like, fuck, yeah.
You have to lose all your cash?
Yeah, so we
Randy's in the house.
Got Randy in the house. The topic today, Randy, we're talking about investing out of state. And then Kris, towards the end, he's going to go over 5 benefits of doing real estate. Is your sheets freezing like mine, or is this just...
No, that's just you.
Well, this is my computer. All right, cool. Well, whatever.
But my computer says it's 6:02 p.m., so that's a problem.
Yeah, that is a problem. Let me see. We have Luis Fernando Vivri, who says the only difference between Latin America and the U.S. market is what you get paid in countries. 99-year leases. Also, see AZ Flip Guys for details of packing your shit and risking it in another country.
Hey, man, my wife is ready to pack her shit and move
go to Costa Rica, right?
Costa Rica,
dude, I told you Costa Rica was going to change your life.
With that place.
Costa Rica was going to change your motherfucking life, bro.
Go to Nicoya Peninsula. Actually, shit, don't go. Leave it for me. Nicoya Peninsula, man. It was
traveling, guys. This is why I'm an avid traveler. This is honestly, traveling is one of my biggest whys. One of the reasons why I do what I do. Is one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about the apartment complex. It's so one of the reasons why we're starting this fund to be able to buy more apartment complexes, so we can have passive income ourselves, but more importantly, so we can give you the option of having passive income. And if you're interested in partnering up with us, send us a message and we can talk about that. Mm-hmm. But that is one of my whys, the traveling.
Yeah.
Because when you travel, you are, dude, you're warped into a different universe, but you're still kind of here. And you get to see things from a different perspective. Everything else, you know, especially as Americans, we are very coddled when it comes to, you know, we're in our own little bubble. Especially like suburban, you know, like middle class America. Dude, you're such in a little freaking bubble that you don't even realize how protected you are in every aspect. And as you travel, traveling is one of the best teachers out there. So basically, you know, what Luis is saying over here is for people to take the risk. I mean, honestly, the only difference, and there's a few differences, but really for the most part, the biggest difference is what they get paid versus what we get paid here. Yeah. So if you're able to make American dollars in America or wherever else and then spend them in a different country, it's going to be super awesome for you. And then they have 99-year leases, meaning that you can't technically buy a property over there, but you could lease it for 99 years unless you have citizenship in that country. So
here you go. I want to, because that's my why too. My why is because I want to see the world, but I want to show my kids the world too. And this is why. This is one of my favorite quotes. Mark Twain. We're actually distant relatives. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness, and many of our people need it sorely on these accounts.
Wow.
You know? Travel is fatal to prejudice and bigotry.
I'm gonna store that.
And that makes so much sense because it's really hard to hate someone when you know them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what? We're not gonna get into anything, you know, political, but people that have a conservative mindset, and I'm not talking about conservative party Republicans or any of that shit, so if you're one of them, don't get offended. But people that have a conservative mindset that are like, so, you know, oh, we don't like those people over there, those people here, those people there, is because they probably haven't spent a lot of time with those people. You know, I was there was a show, and it was being promoted on Facebook. I mean, not on Facebook, but on YouTube. And this chick was a Jewish comedian, and she was going into small town America. And she was talking to some people, and she's like, have you ever met a Jew before? And the lady's like, no, but don't they have like the little funny hair and the little funny hats and stuff? And, you know, the point of that was that these people live in the U.S. and hadn't seen anybody else. And when you don't talk to other people, when you don't know any other people, it's very easy to hate other people. It's very easy not to understand. It's very easy to judge.
Yeah.
You know, it's very easy to judge when you don't have to go through that. When you're like, oh, look at these barbarians over there. They're cutting each other's head off. You don't know how it is to grow up where they grow up. You don't know the shit that they see from a daily basis that desensitize them, because you're in your little protected bubble and you can never imagine somebody that you know doing that shit. Does not mean that somebody else won't, because they're going through something completely different. And traveling, it completely does that, and that's why it's one of my whys. Yeah. And in order to do that, you know, you have to be able to create different systems that will allow you to do those things, and that's one of the main reasons why I'm very adamant about passive income. And you know, even investing out of state, I was looking at some of these, and their flips are different than our flips, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But in addition to that, a lot of these out of state places, especially middle America, they're great for cash flow purposes. Absolutely, for buying cash flow properties.
Yeah, I was talking to Felix, my business partner, yesterday about that. Is his brother? It's all about what's your goal, you know what I mean? Because his brother sees these insane ROIs. Cash flow, you know, is great, but then he he's not looking at the other side. You're not going to get the appreciation. You know what I mean? So, what is your big goal? I mean, a lot of people could throw all their retirement into Cleveland and have all the cash flow they want in the world. Yes. It just won't be worth a lot more in 10 years. But if you don't care, who cares?
But it will still be worth more in 10 years. It won't be worth a lot more.
Not a lot more, yeah.
But it will be worth more.
Sure.
And if you do it correctly, and here's the great part about it, who gives a shit? Because what it's really worth is what it's bringing in. So you raise rents as time goes by. So the guy here, so we got, hold on, before I forget, Sam Friedberg says, love the Mark Twain quote, Kris, please type it out for us when you get a chance. So copy it and put it on there. That'd be great. Copy paste. We got Kevin Brown here who says, thanks for the info, guys. Let me see here before we get distracted, before we go out of it. John Sabella says, seems like most contractors won't accept to pay penalty if they go over deadline because of unforeseen surprises that are not in their control. Well, you know what? Find somebody else that will.
Next.
Yep, that is exactly it. This is one of the topics that I go over, and Ivan, I see you're still on, so pay fucking close attention. I tell your ass, tell them to go fuck themselves. Hey, this guy said that he won't sign the contract unless tell him to go fuck himself. Tell him to go find somebody else that will do that. This is what I do. If you don't like it, go fuck yourself. Go find with somebody else that will do that shit or won't do that shit. Who gives a fuck? These are my rules. I'm the person with the fucking check. You want to get this check? You play by my rules. If you don't want to get this check, go find somebody else and you can play some other fucking rules.
Yeah.
That's it.
There's a lot of hungry contractors out there. You just got to find them.
Yes. And as you show them, so here's the thing is your guys will go bend over backwards, man. They will do anything for you if you just show them that you care about their best interest in heart. So if you're not out there asking for impossible tasks, you're not saying, hey, I need this shit done in 2 weeks, knowing goddamn well it's going to take 2 months, that's a whole different fucking thing. But if you're putting out realistic expectations based on stuff that they've already done, there's nothing wrong with that. You've already shown me that you can tile a fucking floor in 2 weeks. Why the fuck is it going to take you a month?
Because they want to do 4 jobs in between.
Yeah.
Hey, that drives me crazy. Just get it done. Hey, we got some new people in. Dan Jimenez. We got Mrs. Leah in the house. Larry Lewis.
What's up, Leah?
Robert Leftwich. Thanks for joining us. Robert, I think, is a big Philly fan, so he must be happy.
Oh, nice. And then Luis put something. Luis, I don't know what that YouTube link is, and I don't have time to click it right now, but you put a description.
You should be spamming us, man.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to be something either about your business or something about living out of the country.
Ooh, I think it's going to be about his why. That's my guess.
Cool, and it could be. It could be. I just want to make sure that we know what it is because I can't click it to let people know what it is. So anyway, guys, you need to understand that it's been said before, man. He who has the gold makes the rules.
Golden rule.
He who has the gold makes the rules.
Right.
The person with the money makes the fucking rules. There's no way to get around it in this business, in this industry, in this world that we live in. The person with the money makes the fucking rules. So if you say, hey, Mr. Contractor, here's what I want. Oh, I can't do that. Next, I'm going to find somebody who can. Hey, Mr. Contractor, here's what I want. Well, I'm not willing to do that. Next, I'm going to find somebody who can. Right. Hey, Mr. And eventually you'll find somebody who can. It's something you'll need to watch once you're all done. Motherfucker, just tell me what the fuck it is, bro.
We got your girl, Alma.
Oh, yes, we got Alma in the house. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Alma, I'm still waiting on your motherfucking monkey ass. We need to go hang out again. Alma has been kicking ass recently, man.
Yeah.
We've been, I had the pleasure of talking with her when she first started and kind of gave her some pointers, and then she's kind of taken what I've told her and ran with it and been able to really up her real estate business. She's a realtor, but she's been doing real good, really kick ass. So anyway, guys, investing out of state, you have to make sure that you are putting something in place specifically when it comes to contractors. That was a great way to incentivize. As I said, the first guy, he had somebody boots on ground that was kind of keeping tabs on everybody else. From there, the other guy in Milwaukee, he basically was able to hire somebody, and as soon as the guy, he was saying something along the lines that he saved them about 15 grand between 2 deals. So the dude was gonna make $7,500. Man, once he got that first $7,500, it was over. It was over. Yeah. Like they already knew. He was like, dude, I'm your dude. I got your back. Like I can do whatever you guys need me to do. I can handle whatever you guys need me to do. And I'm telling you, you have to make sure that you're taking care of your people. Second thing that it comes to investing out of state is looking for property managers. So investing out of state is different.
Check out Dan's comment on Baltimore investing.
Okay, so let me see. I just picked up a row home in Baltimore in a rough area. Numbers are home run, but any pointers you can recommend as far as fastest way to set up a team?
Hey man, well first of all, I'm gonna say if you're gonna be in a really shitty area, I'm talking like Memphis, all these other,
like Baltimore.
I wouldn't touch anything small. You know, it's probably got 50 units or more, I would say, because why would you want to deal with those types of issues on a small level? You know what I mean? If you're going to do it, go big, have a kick-ass property manager in place, maybe something you can turn. But man, I don't know. I don't like those spots for the most part.
Well, and so let me see. Keon says, I've been telling you guys that. I got people on the ground. Keon, we're definitely going to talk. Here's the thing is you have been telling us, but we weren't ready to listen. I mean, that's the truth.
We're wrong.
Yeah. And we all do that as humans, man. I've been telling you shit, and you ain't ready to listen yet. So when you will, you're gonna be like, "Fuck! I should have listened to that motherfucker the first time he told me." So anyway, we'll definitely talk because I've been looking for stuff out of state, and I definitely need stuff in boots in ground. Robert Leftwich says, "Any thoughts in Detroit?" Yeah, Detroit is the same thing, bro. And this is gonna be the same thing that I'm gonna talk to Dan. So Dan and Robert, this is gonna be the same answer for both of you motherfuckers. So. Markets are markets. Numbers are numbers. What is the amount of energy that it's going to take for you to get what you want? So, for example, you might be like, dude, this is fucking, the numbers are home run, you know, in Detroit, in Baltimore, like the numbers are just fucking slamming. I can buy a property. There's this girl that I hooked up with who fucking bought a property on an auction site for $5,000 in Detroit. For fucking $5,000.
I remember the last few years we've got those on Facebook all the time. It's like, should I just buy it?
However, what is it going to take to rehab that property? Then that's a whole different thing. And then
what we were seeing is, it looks good. Yeah, it's a fixer. Yeah, it's $5,000. But look to the left, look to the right. Everything else has been torn down.
Yes.
Everything else is boarded. Like it's only worth the land.
And what let me see. Oh, I don't know what he's saying. So anyway, it's the cost of opportunity and what you're going to get in return. So as you're looking at these things and you're like, fuck, man, if I go, I can flip it. So you can put a team together. You can do some flipping, but how is that going to work? Are you going to be dealing with having to pay extra security? There's been times where we had to pay a dude to like literally sleep on the driveway because it's a big project and people kept on coming in and stealing shit.
If not, are you willing to pay to rewire the house 3 times? I've done that before.
Yes, having to rewire properties. Your properties getting stolen, materials getting stolen, equipment getting stolen, having to deal with crackheads or whatever. Now, with all that being said, if you could sell it, and if you could sell it at a reasonable price at a reasonable amount of time, then you can get the work done in a reasonable amount of price for a reasonable amount of time, then it makes sense.
Right.
But these are all different variables that come in. So, Mr. Robert Leftwich, what do I think about Detroit? Detroit is a great market out there. I think it's a lot better for buy and hold than it is for fix and flip. The same thing I'm going to assume with Baltimore. I know Baltimore is a little bit rougher area. So is part of Detroit. I know some of these Detroits are a rougher area, but they're going to be better for buying and holding than they are for flipping.
Yeah. And those numbers are pretty sick. Dan's talking about 32 purchase price 32, 15 into it, and a 189 or a 140 comp. First of all, that would freak me out. Why is it 189 or 140?
Really, I didn't get that message.
Those numbers are pretty good regardless. But one thing that cities like Cleveland do have over us is that you learned is that they have the certificate of occupancy. It's like a big deal, and so getting that and getting that CO can you can make a lot of money just doing those types of things.
Well, and then the thing about it is that, and I'll get into like permits and stuff because that was another clusterfuck. Like my girl, our girl Asia, I was talking to her about doing some deals in Detroit, and I said, hey, what's like I could buy shit, but how much is it gonna cost me to fix it? And then what can I fucking sell it for? And she's like, well, the cost of fixing is a lot more here because we have an inspector for everything. So here in Arizona, we got one inspector. That guy comes, boom, boom, boom. They gotta take out permits for electric, take out permits for plumbing, take out permits for HVAC, take out permits for all your other stuff. And these are all different inspectors. And now the electrical inspector comes in and he flags your plumbing. And now the plumber comes in and he's like, well, something's got to be wrong. So they're gonna mean that now you got to pull extra permits for all this shit. And every single section has a different permit, and it's extra moving parts, extra money being paid, extra time being spent. So the time to get a project done is a lot longer out there, and it all comes into play with how it is. So
and then like Randy said, you get in some of these cities, man, and the taxes are insane. My in-laws had a place outside of Chicago. Their taxes were like almost $20,000 a year.
Yes,
we're 10% of that.
Yeah. And that's one of the things you have to do your research when looking into different markets. So let me see. So Detroit, Robert, that's my thoughts on Detroit. I think it's a better buy and hold market. For Dan Jimenez, I would say the exact same thing. It's a better buy and hold market. If you could sell it for those prices that you're saying that they can sell it, and it sells in a reasonable amount of time. But you're saying 15,000 repair. First of all, that sounds like a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, that does.
That sounds like a complete bunch of bullshit. Whoever's telling you that is fucking lying to you. I guarantee you, because even if you're getting a property that's in good condition, you just need to update it. You're still going to spend more than $15,000 just in updating. Just like we do with Walton, right? Walton's a good fucking property. We're going to spend $20,000 to $25,000 to fucking update this bitch. And it's got good bones, it's got good structure, it's got good everything. It just needs to be updated. So the 15 grand sounds like a bunch of horse shit. And then how long is it going to take? And what are you doing? Are you borrowing that money? If you're borrowing that money, now you got to consider interest payments on that. How long is that going to take? How much of that interest is that going to suck down your freaking actual profit? So I know what you're saying, and you think it sounds nice, but do a little bit of research. Talk to people that are actually flipping in Baltimore, and they'll be able to let you know exactly what it's like,
right.
And especially in that particular area that you're looking to flip. Because trust me, we get this all the time. Wholesalers come to us like, oh man, I got a great deal, and it only needs $10,000 in work, and it's gonna sell for $300,000, and then we need $40,000 in work. ARV $220,000. Like these motherfuckers are talking way out of their ass, and all the fucking time, guys, all the time. So anyway, last thing before I move on from you, Dan, any pointers you can recommend to setting up a team? Yeah, get on there, meet people, work with people. Talk to people that are already doing it. Talk to people that are already flipping in Baltimore. Find out who they have on their team. Find out who they're willing to give. Sometimes you got somebody like Kris who's got a bunch of guys that work for him, and then he doesn't have enough projects going on, so he needs to get his guys busy. He's paying them by the hour or whatever he's got going on, so he needs to do something. Maybe he's got a subcontractor that he really, really likes, but he just doesn't have enough work for him because his primary guy is doing most of the work. So you might contact him and be like, oh yeah, call my guy Cruz, call my guy Joe, call my guy Bill. They'll be able to help you out. And that is the way that you build a team the quickest.
I had back in November. Go search our videos in November. I have 4 flip tips from Philadelphia talking about exactly this, how to find contractors, how to find rehabbers to buy your deals.
And that's why if you guys are on Facebook, make sure that you hit the follow button, not just the like button, but make sure that you're following us. Because if you follow us, you'll be able to keep in touch with every single thing that we do. And as I said, guys, we're not spamming you. We're not putting up bullshit. We're not putting up anything other than he puts up his flip tips. We do the videos. Sometimes we take you through our projects that we're doing right now live. Our buddy Ivan, he puts different articles regarding real estate there. But it's just content. So you guys make sure that you follow us so you can stay in touch, because Kris will put different gems like that. We got Sterling in the house. Hey, Randy Matthews says Sterling in the house.
Sterling in the house.
Sterling says, what's up, guys? I don't need to tell you how awesome you are.
Yeah.
Thank you. Were you able to help him out? We got everything worked out. So,
we are investors.
Guys, this is the benefit of networking. We tell you motherfuckers all the time, network, network, network. I was fortunate enough to learn that lesson from the beginning. And I don't know if you know Sterling, but I've been working this relationship. I've been playing chess with your ass for the last fucking year and a half. I saw him. I saw what he was doing. I said, I like that motherfucker. I like how he's doing it. I like the people that he surrounds himself with. As I started seeing him more in the multifamily stuff, I'm like, that's where I want to go. As I decided that I want to go into the multifamily stuff, then I was like, dude, man, this is definitely the direction that I want to take it. And I've been really, really kind of working my way in there and slowly networking with individuals. And because of that, I've been able to build a pretty good relationship with Sterling. We're looking forward to doing a whole lot of deals with you here in the future when it comes to these apartment complexes. We're going to be finding smoking deals, which is something that we're not even going to talk about today. And we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. But through that networking came relationships. Through that came being able to help each other's problem. Through that came Sterling sending me a message and saying, hey, man, I need X amount of money for a deal. I said, yeah, I may have it available. Boom, I need it for something else. Dude, I hit up Kris. I said, hey, do you have it available? Checked it out. We had that money available, and he was able to help out a friend. And we're building relationships as we go. And one of the things with the AZ Flip, guys, is we don't talk out of our fucking ass, man. We practice what we preach. We're not fucking regurgitating some shit that we heard some fucking guru say at some place. We saw fucking YouTube video that we're just deciding to like, oh, this sounded nice, let me do this. No, this is stuff that we do on a daily basis. We tell you, how do we get your deals? Network. How do you find money? Network. And then, boom, you're seeing this shit fucking happen.
It's the theme of the day, man. How do you level up? Network.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We find people that are doing what we want to do. Level up, If we're doing what you want to do, level up. Talk to us, and then
And Sterling says here he knows, and we play the game well, and we do. And game, there's a saying in the rap hood, fucking game recognizes game.
True.
And it's the truth,
Yeah.
because birds of a feather flock together. And this is why you got to be very careful with who you network with. If you want to buy properties out of state, talk to investors that are investing out of state. It's not fucking rocket science, guys. This is not fucking rocket science. You find them, you find a way to add value to them, just like we just added value. We added a tremendous amount of value to our boy Sterling right here. A tremendous amount of value. And Sterling, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but we added a tremendous amount of value to him. We find the people, we add value to them, we associate with them, we befriend those people. We find ways to make win-win beneficial relationships and deals with these people. That's how you do it. It's not fucking rocket science, guys. It's really not rocket science. And if you want to invest out of state, you have to talk to people that are investing out of state. We got our boy Alex Sanchez in the house. Alex, I'm gonna fucking text your ass. We need to lock your ass in here sometime next month to get you and your brother, if not just you or if not just your brother, whatever shit. I'll interview your fucking sister, bro. So your sister's fucking awesome. So anyway, guys, you want to make sure that you're doing that. Where we at time wise? We're a little bit past 1. Sterling says 100%. And guys, it's about adding value. It's not about me, give me. What can you do? What can you do? What can you do? Because once you add value, you have opened yourself up to a whole bunch of things. I was talking, and Sterling, I'm gonna send you a message about this shit, bro. Yesterday, I'm talking to Christina, my assistant. We're getting everything situated. We're getting everything finalized for the apartment complex, just to have everything set up, organized online. Right. So I was talking to my friend Robin, who was the first lady who ever lent me money, and I've helped her out a lot through our journey here. I was like, hey Robin, you bought an apartment complex. You're buying another one here. What do you use? Like, what spreadsheet? Do you have a spreadsheet or something that you use to keep tabs of all your expenses and all your stuff that you do? I just, instead of trying to create one, let me fucking go find one, right? She's like, oh, I use this service. I use this application. It's super cheap and it handles everything. The tenants can go online from an app from their phone and request repairs. They can pay their shit online from the app. Everything is tracked. Taxes are separated and done. All kinds of shit, bro, for like fucking $10 a fucking month.
Hook it up.
It's
I'm about to sign up for that.
But
because I ain't looking to reinvent the wheel. If there's something awesome like that, sign me up. Man.
Now, I could have easily looked for something, and it would have took me some time
Trial
to find
and
it.
error and everything else.
Or I could just ask somebody that's already fucking doing it. Guys, this is the secret. Whatever you want to do in whatever aspect of your life. If you are like, hey, yeah, hell yeah, you need to know about that one, Sterling. I'm telling you, adding value, buddy. And guys, so look, if I ever go up to Sterling in the future and I say, hey, buddy, I got this deal that I want to partner up, or hey, can you give me some advice, or hey, I'm working on my first 100-unit apartment complex. You already own 1 or 2. Is he going to tell me to fuck off?
Hopefully not.
Probably not. And if he does, then, you know, whatever.
Yeah, because he's not the only one doing 100 units. There's
Yeah,
lots
whatever.
of people, and lots
No
of
big
people
deal.
are open.
But the probability of him doing that is slim to none. Because we're adding value. And that's one of the things that you need to understand is wherever aspect of life you want to go, find the people that you want to be with, and then find a way to add value to them. In any way. Whichever way you can. And you might be like, oh, I don't really know anything, or I don't really have anything, or I don't really know how to... Just find what they need and find the way to help them. Right now, I'm helping fucking Robin. Bruce said he had a bunch of money. She's like, hey, I need some money to close on this deal. I may hook her up with that. You know, I put them in contact. He's going to see if he's interested or not and whatever. Right. It doesn't matter. I'm connecting these pieces of the puzzle. In return, people are helping me, and that's the way that it kind of goes.
That's a great example because, you know, he's one of our lenders, and, you know, he has X amount of money. And so... You could be like, oh, if he's not gonna lend it to me if he's lending it, you know. So, but instead, you're like, no, let me hook him up because he's not making any money if you're not borrowing it, if I'm not borrowing it, and then she needs it. So you're helping out 2 people, and they're not gonna forget that.
And in the process, it's all going through. One of the things that I saw is that she sent me over her memorandum as how much money she needed, what she was willing to pay, her exit strategy, everything else that was kind of on there. And she already has a lender lined up that would refinance them out at 85% LTV.
Oh my goodness.
So, which is what we need.
When this stock market is done tanking, just wait. You guys, we're going to come, we have open arms, right? When you're ready to flock away from that stock market that's going to have a down year, you just come right to the easy flip guys.
and guys, as I said, we're being
85%.
Yes. We're being 100% earnest here when we say that we're only the first few people that partner up with us are actually going to be able to partner up and own a piece of an apartment complex. So we have a new company that we're starting. We're looking for investors for that company. For that, we're looking to give an actual partnership through the LLC to these investors that come in and help us reach what we need to do. After that, they'll just be lenders and they'll be making a killer return, but still way better than they're making in the stock market and anything else. Still backed by a nice freaking by a nice piece of real estate. But the first people that reach out to us, the people that take a chance with us, the same way that my friend Casey is now he's getting a fucking 20% return on his money secured by something that's going to go up. That he'll be able to refinance that money in a few years. We'll be able to buy another one, and we'll continue to grow this LLC that we started with him.
And you know what, man? You could have. He took the chance, but you know what? You could have cut him out because you had it locked up. You had him locked up, and then there was like 60 days, 90 days. It was a long time before you actually had to close it. You easily could have found a second lender, cut him completely out of the deal, and then you would have just been. You know what I mean? But that's not how you roll, man. That's not how we roll.
So we got a Sterling here who says, I got to run, guys. We'll catch up soon. Keep crushing it. Thank you, Sterling.
Thanks, man.
I appreciate it, man. And I'll text you later and I'll let you know the name of that program that I was talking about. But guys, it's about adding value. It's about adding value to the people that are out there. And this particular show, we're adding value, teaching you how to go out of state. So I went there. I'm learning. One of the big things that I'm learning is for people flipping out of state is one of the things that a lot of people are recently doing is they're buying the properties, they're fixing them up, they're putting a renter in place, and then they're selling it to an investor who's looking to do that. Now, a few weeks ago, I interviewed a guy named John Badura, who we'll have to bring him back because we had issues uploading the video. The phone ended up dying halfway through the fucking video shoot, so we had to. It didn't upload correctly, and if you're like 30 minutes into it, it just stalls and then completely disappears. But anyway, he was talking about how he was doing that in Phoenix back in the day when the market tanked. He was buying properties, doing minimal fixes, putting in renters, and then selling them to investors. This is no longer valid here in Arizona, but it happens in a whole lot of other states.
Right.
So that's what they were doing. They were buying these properties. They were getting a stupid cap rate on it, and then they were selling it at a very good cap rate to their investors. And they would cash out on the properties. So it was still flipping, but it's just a different version of flipping.
Mm-hmm.
And they did what their market allocated them to do. Because in order for them to have a traditional flip, they had to do a much bigger house, a property where it's going to cost them $300,000 worth of work.
Right.
Now they're tying up $500,000 where they could have used that money for 4 deals or 3 deals as opposed to 1 deal and be able to bring in money different ways. So if you are out there and you want to invest out of state, you want to make sure that you have a comparable team in place. And I'm telling you and I'm warning you right now that it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take some trial and error for you to figure out what is in. Every single state is different. You know, my friend was telling me that he wasn't aware of how all the permits and stuff work because we're used to Arizona. Right. Where you just have the one guy that comes in, boom, 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 he tells you what you need to. And he was saying that a lot of times in those places, they won't tell you till the end. So the inspector will come in, see the shit that's wrong, and then won't tell you till the end and make you fucking come in and
crazy.
They're driving fucking crazy. But this is what happens when you deal in other markets. Every single market has its nuance, and the best thing you can do is team up with people that are already working in that market or work in other markets. So you start learning the different things that you can kind of be aware of. And so you got your contractors. You got your property managers. If you go in, then you do the strategy that I just mentioned, which is putting them on the rentals, either keeping them for yourself or selling them as a turnkey package. Now you need a property manager. Now you need somebody that's going to be managing those people, making sure that the work is being done, making sure that the rent is being paid, making sure that if any of those properties is vacant, that it gets filled again, making sure that everything kind of gets done on that particular. You could hire a property management company. There's a lot of horror stories with out-of-state owners doing that. So ideally, you would want to, if you're investing out of state, you ideally want to invest in the same area and eventually start your own property management company.
At least have your own rules. You know, people who let out-of-state property managers run their properties into the ground do exactly that. They let it happen. You know what I mean? You can be slow to hire, quick to fire. You know, same goes with your property manager.
And you should be. Things just don't happen. You know, this is going to be very unpopular opinion, but I don't give a fuck. So there is a saying where like, oh, you know, some guy hit a girl and the girl's like, oh my God, I don't know how this happened. You know exactly how it happened. You motherfuckers started arguing, and then one time he punched the wall and you let it slide. And then one time you threw a fucking plate at him, he let that shit slide. And then one time he pushed you and you let it slide. And then another time you punched him and then let it slide. And then another time you fucking threatened him with a knife and let it slide. And then eventually it gets to physical violence and they're like, I don't know what happened. This motherfucker didn't go from Mr. Belvedere to fucking beating the shit out of you and fucking just like, oh shit, hey, what's going on? No, right, Mr. Belvedere. How old school is that?
You age yourself with that shit.
How old school is that?
I think you're too young to know that, Mr. Belvedere.
Well, I was broke. So being part of broke is that you watch a bunch of reruns on free TV. So I know Laverne and Shirley. I know Happy Days. I know all these other Leave It to Beaver. All these other fucking old school shows that they would replay. But anyway, things just don't happen. So a property just doesn't get fucked up. Is if you kind of, especially, once again, it's going to be trial and error. It's going to be going back and forth, finding the people that you can rely on. Because if you just say, hey, here, take my shit, do it, eventually they're going to be trying to find a way to take advantage of the situation. Yep. So we got Alan Hines who says, hey guys, I may have a fire damage in Levine. I was door knocking in my neighborhood. I will text Kris the pics. Perfect.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, so definitely if you got a fire damage property, we're not afraid of doing fire damage stuff. We're definitely looking at some fire damage stuff. So anyway, guys, you want to make sure that if you're doing out-of-state stuff, Figure out a strategy before you go into it. Before you put any money into it, figure out a strategy. Second of all is you want to make sure that once you test your theory and it works, because you do have to test your theory and it does have to work, be careful how fast you scale up, because that's when you start running into shit. And that's what happened to them. That's how they got themselves into that hole. They scaled up too big and they're like, fuck, man, they took on some projects that they shouldn't have. The contractors weren't able to do it. Some properties have been sitting there longer. They're borrowing money, so they got interest payments piling up. There's a lot.
I had the same issues.
So you got to be careful with that. And then if your part of your exit strategy is holding them for rentals, selling them as turnkey, or you holding them for rentals yourself, it's going to take a process for you to build your team in place in regards to your property management. At some point, though, once you get past a few properties, you're going to want to just start up your own management company. That's what a lot of people do. And then with this particular guy, he was buying them, he was selling them. It included three years of property management built into the price that he was selling them for. And then he offered them property management services outside of that. So once they got past their 3 years, if they wanted to, they can continue hiring his property management company.
Trying to make it so they can't screw it up.
Yeah, exactly. So then that's exactly how that works. My friend in Columbus, he does the exact same thing. My friend over in Cleveland, he does the exact same thing. So we got 15 minutes here left on the show. Why don't you do your 5 reasons why real estate? Because we are, we talked about it earlier. The stock market took a dip, then it went up, then it took a dip, then it went up again. It's a roller coaster ride.
It sure is.
And it will always be a roller coaster ride. And if at any time you see it just continually going up, understand that at one point it's going to hit the cliff. Regardless of how it is, it's a roller coaster ride. It will always be a roller coaster ride. So, Kris, why don't you tell them the 5 reasons why real estate is better than, just why real estate in general?
Absolutely, man. See, I've been really just thinking about it just because we see these dips. You know how people, they strategize. This is where we're going to do. I'll do 10% a year over year. But they don't understand how bad a negative year will affect you. That's why I like real estate, because the passive investor, they have one way to make money in the stock market, right? Yeah. It has to go up. Yep. Appreciation is the only way. So... yeah, so I just want to discuss with our audience here, just so we know. So the number one thing, so the first reason is real estate's negotiable. Yes. So you can buy a perfect property well below market value just for any reason,
Try to negotiate a stock or a bond, right?
Exactly. So you got $50,000 and you want to go buy $100,000 worth of Apple stock, right? Not going to happen. But if someone is in a certain amount of distress, regardless of the condition of the property, you can negotiate a deal, and we always do minimum 20%. You know what I mean? So that's the first one, which goes hand in hand with the second one. It's improvable. So in my experience, and let me know what you think about this, I think for about every dollar in repair it needs, we usually get around $2 to $3 off the price, right?
Yeah, you need it.
So if it needs a $10,000 rehab, you're probably going to get 20 to 30 additional off the price because of the time and effort that it takes. So you can take a property. We do it all the time. We fix and flip. We take it and we make it beautiful, and it raises the value of it. So that's the second one. The third one is our favorite, cash flow. You know what I mean? You don't, whether a property, I say Jeff's, our guy Jeff Fagan's quote all the time. So we were at our class with Jeff Fagan, and he was discussing the downturn. And we're like, man, Jeff, didn't you get killed in the stock market? And he's like, yeah, my net worth went down, but I don't live on net worth. I live on cash flow.
Hell yeah.
He's a single family investor. He owns a ton of free and clear real estate.
And in order for you to make cash flow with stocks, it's a different type of cash flow that you're making. Most of them are not going to be paid monthly. Most of them are going to be paid quarterly, if that, or yearly. And then the percentages that you get on there are so much smaller than you could get in real estate. So if you are doing a if you're having a stock that's making you 5% annualized year over year, you're doing fucking awesome. Like that, that's a great stock. Like something like a Verizon Wireless is gonna pay you something like that, where it's just gonna be, that's like the top end of the top end. If you're doing a passive real estate deal and you're making, you know, we're talking about our partners here are gonna be making about a 6% floor.
Yeah.
So that's on the low end. So our low end is better than their absolutely best case scenario.
Usually, yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
And it's
for
insane.
the passive investor, you know.
For the passive
you can always get specialized, you know. But I'm talking about the average Joe who works.
Yeah, and we're not talking about day traders or anything like that. We're talking about people that just put their money in. They go to a financial planner who puts their money into some type of stock, some type of bond, some type of mutual funds, some type of shit like that. That the investor themselves has no say as to where their money gets put. They just put in there, and they're making these type of returns. And then in addition to that, you got those you know, those returns and what it actually does, but it doesn't produce cash flow.
Right.
And they're a lot harder to liquidate if you needed to liquidate them than if you, like, say, needed to liquidate a piece of property.
Right.
And then you can mark them down, and there are all kinds of different benefits of doing that. But cash flow, and the other one is my second favorite word, man, leverage.
Absolutely. The reason that you can leverage is because of cash flow. You know what I mean? If you had to borrow to buy stocks, you're going to write a check every month.
Yeah.
But, you know, real estate covers that.
And I've known people that have stocks that have borrowed against their stocks to use it to invest in real estate. But then at the same time, though, if you have cash flow coming in, you don't need to do that. And then you can actually cross-collateralize versus a certain asset that you have right now. So you can, to a point, you can take out a loan based on your stocks that you have. However, you can never use those stocks to buy more stocks without putting any money out of your pocket.
Right.
Or anything else. You can't use that to buy a piece of property somewhere. So you have the ability to leverage. You have the ability to leverage all kinds of stuff. You know, when you are dealing with let's say you're buying an apartment complex. Let's say that you're buying in an area where it's not going to appreciate, so you're not even banking on the appreciation. Overall, in time, you're going to continue raising rents. As you continue raising rents, the overall value of your property will go up, because when you sell those properties, they're based on cap rate. How much are they bringing for how much you spent? So they will continue going up. And eventually the property values will go up a little bit, even if you're in a smaller market like the one that I got my apartment complex in. However, what's going to determine the value of that is the amount of money that we're able to do, and that's your reason number 2, which is improvable.
Yeah, and while you don't know in those neighborhoods, if it's going to appreciate or how much, the one thing I love about real estate on the borrowing side with leverage is it's a math equation. You know, if you put that thing on a 15-year mortgage, in 15 years it will be zero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a simple math equation. So, yeah, it may not be going too much this way, but your tenant, your employee, is paying that sucker down.
Yes. And that's the double benefit of it, is that you got your money going this way and then your debt going this way.
Right.
Every year you got a nice big old piece of pie. So we got, let me see, we got Dan Jimenez who said, what states are you guys familiar flipping houses in? Right now, just Phoenix, just the state of Arizona. That's where we're looking to do some flips in a few different markets. But as I said, we practice what we preach. So before I go jump into another market, I'm going to check it out. And I'm going to check it out with somebody who's doing it for real in that market. Yep. So we got Randy Matthews here. We got Israel in the house. Thank you for joining us, Israel. We got Randy Matthews that says 5 reasons: leverage, tax benefits, appreciation, dividends, cash flow, and freedom. A bonus is control. Add a paint job and increase the direct value. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that we were talking about. And the bonus is control. Because with the stock, you need to own a stock for you to be making money with it. With real estate, you don't even technically need to own the real estate to be making money off of it. You just need to control it.
We don't even need to get into that. No, that's a whole nother layer. But as far as control as well, you can control how well that property is being managed. Can you control how well Apple's being managed?
No, not at all.
No say at all.
Not at all. So there's a lot of benefits to that. And then, Randy, you actually touched up on our last one over here, which is taxes, depreciable, deductible, deferrable. So different taxes, being able to, obviously everybody knows appreciation, your property value goes up, so you're building equity. But there's also depreciation, which means that you get to write off that property for the next, I think it was like 27 and a half or 17 and a half years.
That's the crazy thing. See, that's right there how we know that the government wants us to invest in real estate. When we buy apartments, when we build apartments, we have places for people to live. That's what they need, right? And so they give us all types of tax benefits. But yeah, depreciation is one of my favorites. So for commercial, they say, so while we know this house we're sitting in 27 and a half years, it's going to be worth more. Yeah. Significantly more. Yeah. But they say the building, not the land, just the building is going to be worth zero in 27 and a half years is how they depreciate it. So I was talking about a $200,000 house. A $200,000 house is going to be depreciated at like $7,000 a year. So while you may be making $7,000, on paper you're breaking even or even losing money. So I love it, man. You want some tax benefits? That's it.
And Randy Matthews says here, I don't fully understand depreciation, so maybe on another show. Randy, luckily for you, we already did it on the show. If I remember correctly, it was when we were going over the apartment complex, when we actually broke it down. I don't remember the exact episode, probably episode 29. That's the one that we really broke down the apartment complexes. But we talked about in detail about depreciation and how that works. But you're basically you're writing off against your gains. So in like I said, in his example, 7,000. Let's say that you made $6,000 profit that year from that property, but now they're depreciating 7,000. So on paper, you lost $1,000.
Exactly.
You're making $10,000, and now they're depreciating 7,000 a year. Now on paper, you only made $3,000, so you're only paying taxes on $3,000 versus $10,000. It is an amazing tool.
Every year.
Every fucking year, exactly.
And then so now one of the downfalls is when you eventually sell that, they're going to recapture some of that, so it won't be at this level, it'll be to where you depreciate it. But that takes us into the final and probably the most important tax benefit of real estate is the 1031 exchange. Yeah. You can defer those taxes forever if you want. If you never realize any of the money from the sale, which you shouldn't, you never kill the golden goose. Only eat her eggs. Only spend the cash flow. If these sports guys were smart, every penny of their bonus would go to buying assets, and then every penny they make, spend it all. Spend it all. It doesn't matter. But yeah, you can defer that forever and ever. So
and 1031 exchanges is probably something that we may do a show on one day. Yeah. Because that is an amazing tool to use to defer. And honestly, if I remember correctly, the new tax law will allow you that if you 1031 exchange and then you pass away, then your children don't have to pay any of that tax.
Wow.
I may be wrong. We got to
get an expert on it.
Definitely ask an accountant. But I had heard something along those lines. So you're basically just kicking the fucking can down the road. And at that point, who gives a fuck? I mean, you may have a nice big tax bill at the end, but you made a shit ton of fucking money. And if you did it right, you've bought these cash flowing assets throughout the way, which should be bringing you in a whole lot more money than you're going to need to pay the one time in fucking taxes anyway.
And that 1031, guys, it's a game that you all know very well. We all played it. It's called Monopoly. You're trading in 4 houses for 1 hotel, 1 apartment. We all know how to do it, and literally it is that simple. You exchange up. 1 hotel is going to make you a lot more money than 4 houses. But if you buy those 4 houses right, then you can turn it into it.
So let me see here. I got a last comment. Randy said he missed that show. Make sure that you check it out. He was also asking when are we going to do our podcast. We need to get an assistant here. If anybody guys knows of anybody looking for some part-time assistant work to start, the AZ Flip guys, we're looking for some clerical work, so we need we're supposed to fucking promote that this week. Totally forgot about it. Let me see. Randy says I'm flipping wholesaling with the new partner in Houston, pretty similar to AC, but Texas is a non-disclosure state, makes it hard to get comps. Know the market.
Hey man, watch out for those floodplains.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yes.
Insurance companies fool me once, right? They're not gonna get fooled twice.
Yes, you got to make sure that you're doing that. Anytime you're partnering up with somebody in a different market, vet them as much as you can. But this is the reason why you partner up with somebody in a different market, because there is different nuances. Every single market is different. Some markets are deed states. Some markets are foreclosure states. Some markets, you need a lawyer to close. Some markets you can do with an attorney. I know, for example, Texas, somebody in your business has to have a real estate license for you to run a real estate business. Yeah, and it has to be like a Texas license. So anyway, there's all kinds of different nuances. But anyway, thank you for bringing that up. That's a great point, and that brings us to the final here of our show. Recap marketing. If you're going to be doing stuff out of town, if you're going to be flipping out of town, make sure that you connect with somebody who's currently doing it in that area. It's just a better way just to make sure that everything works out correctly, that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, that you're not getting screwed over, you're not getting misled when it comes to comps, when it comes to repairs, when it comes to whatever else. If you're going to be partnering up with somebody, if you're going to be starting your own crew down there, then you want to be constantly going down there. There's going to be trial and error. You're going to be finding these people. You'll find these contractors at your local Home Depot, whatever their hardware store is, or just by driving around and finding these people, talking to them.
Yeah, look for a rehab going on, guys. Talk to them.
Eventually, you'll find the people that you'll join your team, but it's going to take some time initially. Same thing goes with property management. Those two right there, knowing the nuances, the contractors and the property management, these three are the most important when you're flipping out of state. As always, we will be back next week. We got our special guests, Risha and Drew, who are actually right now flipping out of state. They're just moving their business out of state. They recently started, so it's great. They've been doing real estate for a while, and Risha's a super good friend of mine, so seeing her growth.
Yeah, I'm gonna put her right here. She commented earlier, guys. But go follow her. She's great with her inspiration, her motivation in the morning, and if you're in keto,
yeah, she's definitely a great person to connect yourself with. But anyway, guys, this is the AZ Flip guys. That is Cashflow Kris. That is BP the mentor. We got Mr. Robert Flores right back there.
Flowers. He looks like a Flores.
It's okay. All my life.
Same fucking thing. It's the same fucking thing, bro. It's like
you're from Phoenix, so it is.
Yeah, it's Flores. You're from Phoenix. Yeah. So anyway, guys, we just want to remind you that you flip for cash, but always, 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 more importantly, hold for wealth. And if any of you guys want any more information regarding our new apartment complex and how you can join us in owning that, make sure you send us a message. So, peace.
Oh, we gotta clap.
Yeah, baby.
I don't know.
I feel like I'm the guy off camera and you guys are Howard Stern. I was actually going to ask you guys, have you guys thought about podcasting this? Because I listen to podcasts all the time. And
yeah,
I have a couple friends who kind of do it. And there's so many levels of doing it. And it's because, like we were just talking before, the tech now is, you can do it at whatever scale, whatever